at premiums, obviously we're able to actually see a live cash transaction on a premium and actually compare that to actual par bids. And so those are observable inputs, and those would be level 2. So then the question is, then you have CPR tables. Well, we've had the Coleman report being downloaded into Bloomberg, so we have the PSBA pages on Bloomberg, so we'd be able to go back in and we'd actually be able to look at those prepayment pages. And now we have month-to-month data courtesy of GL Solutions, and I would say those are level 2. Now the issue you have though is it's great when you first set up your IO and you first have the transaction because everything is current date. So the day you book it, you pretty much know what those fair values are. As it ages, that's when you start going into level 3 observations, because we don't really have very many trades of older assets to be able to determine what that discount rate would be under current transactions. Now we still have level 2 because we're able to see where in the point of the prepayment vectors that we are. So we still have a level 2 on the prepayments, but on the discount rate, you're going to have to make some assumptions. And you know, I kind of buy into what they've been doing as far as their assumptions, saying, well, at least we have a similar asset, we have similar trades. You would think that that spread, you know, in a current trade for that similar type of transaction should remain basically the same. And then I think what you guys have been using, what the spot rates out, and I think if you can establish whatever the current spread is to whatever benchmark rate that you're using and apply that to those spot rates out, then I think that's probably a very reasonable way to do it. But that is a level 3 portion of the FAS 157. So the big thing with FAS 157 is the fair value now is the price that would be received to sell the asset, which is a very different concept than what we had defined before, where people were using either a purchase price or an average of the bid-ask, and some people were valuing at the ask side versus the bid side. So basically FAS 157 says you use the bid side of the transaction. It also defines what market participants are, and market participants aren't yourself. Those are what people independent of you are. In fact, it's paragraph 10 basically specifically states that they're independent, knowledgeable, able to do the transaction, and are motivated to do the transaction. So basically you need to exclude yourself from those assumptions, which is a big deal because I know Brian and I argue about that quite often, because he's saying, well, it's worth more to me than it is to these guys. And I say, well, great, Brian, it's good. Then we'll hold the servicing because it's worth more to you than it is to the marketplace. But it doesn't change in how we're going to value the asset. The value of the asset is independent of what we think. We might be able to recognize the economics of it on a go-forward basis, but it doesn't change what the price is, because really what the FASB is trying to do is say, if you're valuing an IO on, you know, ABC Bank's books, or you're valuing it on the Bidco's books, it should basically have the same value. And so what you're doing should be independent, and if you're able to do better than market or worse than market, then you realize that through current earnings.